Hello and welcome. So in this video, I'm going to attempt to explain and clarify what this substance called qi really is. So we really need to talk about qi and get a better understanding of it, and essentially I want to move us towards being able to experience it more easily and more freely. Simply because when we're talking about human energy field and we're talking about energy centers in the body like chakras or dantians in Chinese, it's the qi which is really the substance which is moving through the human energy field and essentially makes up the human energy field. It's the fabric of the human energy field. Okay, so to begin, I want to sort of introduce you to the idea or the concept that there's really two major energy fields that are going on. We've got our own personal human energy field, which every person has one, which is kind of unique to them and flows at a certain rate, and it's got certain different things about it which makes it unique and makes that individual unique, and which essentially governs their overall health, vitality, etc. And then we've got an energy field which is outside of the human being, which is pretty much encapsulates all of the things, or all of the humans, the earth, and potentially the whole universe is kind of inside this larger energy field or qi energy field. A kind of a metaphor to help kind of understand this a bit better would be if we've got a blackboard or a whiteboard, and then once we've got the blackboard, we start drawing on forms, such as we'll draw on the earth, a big circle, we'll draw on the sun, we'll draw on a moon, and we'll draw on little humans on the earth, and then there's birds and animals and etc. So we've got all these sort of variations of forms. However, in order for those forms to exist, in order for those forms to be manifest, we need the blackboard, which is the context. So the blackboard creates a context for which all these things can be sort of manifest or experienced as forms. And when we're talking about the qi, what we could use the metaphor is that the blackboard is essentially the qi field. So the qi field creates the context, the larger qi field creates the context for which all things are inside it. So we're all essentially kind of swimming around inside this giant electromagnetic energy field. So there's some really unique qualities about this qi field. The main, or one of the big ones about this qi field, which makes it so unique and so interesting, is that it's essentially intelligent. So it is an intelligent organizing organism, if you like. Well, that's how the Taoists would view it, is that the universe is kind of self-governing, self-organized organism, which is operating via these laws, essentially being governed by the qi field itself. And so if we were to look at that idea as far as the human energy field, the qi, the intelligent qi that's running through us is essentially what is governing all the very intricate physiological responses in our body that we aren't consciously involved in. So, for example, our heartbeat. I'm not in control of that most of the time. I probably could if I had some advanced yogi techniques, I could alter my heartbeat. But for most of the time, we're not controlling it. It's just happening. Then we've got cellular regeneration processes going on. We've got hair growing on it by itself. We've got our breath moving by itself most of the time. We've got all the things that are occurring when we're asleep and unconscious, essentially. So all these things that we have no control over seem to be intelligently organized. And according to this qi theory, it's qi that's doing all the work. So again, back to the Taoist principle, because it's really coming out of, the qi idea is coming out of this Taoist idea, is that they're really into this idea that it's about non-interfering. So basically this qi field is kind of organizing, self-organizing, is very intelligent, and has been doing it for potentially millions and billions of years, and will be doing it for a long time to come. So then potentially the human ego comes along and tries to intervene and tries to shift things. However, for the Taoists, in most cases, they would say, just relax, just wait it out. There's no need to interfere because the qi field, or nature, in other words, is going to sort it out in its own way, in its own time. So when we're talking about health and wellness of the human being, the goal or the teaching within the Chinese and the yoga is that we've got to keep this qi. It likes to move. It's kind of this moving, ebbing, flowing fabric. And it's moving through us all the time. And the expression of health is basically this qi is moving smoothly and continuously through our bodies and through our minds at all times. And when this is really smooth, then the qi becomes like better quality and is able to sort of express itself a bit more. So the qi becomes finer, and it can also bring in kind of a higher intelligence into us as well. However, when there's sickness, usually it's because there's a qi, they call it like a qi block. So there's some kind of impeding, something's impeding the flow and the smooth distribution of qi. And then from that, the physiological connections, the physiological communications start to break down. And then so cells start to break down, or they start to get confused about what their job is because they're not receiving the correct information. And so healing starts breaking down basically, and the person will get sick or unwell or just won't recover very well. So when we're talking about qi in the context of the human being and in terms of health and healing, the goal of yoga and the goal of Tai Chi Qigong is to keep this qi substance moving through us really nicely, really smoothly. And basically everything takes care of itself when we're in this sort of substance. Or when we're in this state, the mind becomes very calm, the body becomes very self-healing, and there's a lot of serenity. I think a good word is serenity. The human being becomes very serene. It's very easy to then move into states like meditation or higher states of consciousness. If the qi is all blocked and it's like there's all this agitation inside the body, it's a really difficult process to move towards states like meditation. So that's what the yoga postures and that's what posturing is really about. It's about moving the qi through to make it smooth, so then meditation is really an easy process. Okay, so that's about it as far as conceptual understanding. Later on in the course, I'm going to show you some real postures, so some practical ways to actually start feeling qi for yourself and start building the qi in your own energy field so that you feel stronger, healthier, and just more vital. So I'll see you in the next video. Thank you.